right, well, welcome back to another episode of the Bennett Breakdown. We're going to break it down today, and I have a special guest with me that I'm super stoked about. You have heard a lot about him. A lot of you know him. We also have some people on here that may not know him, but this is our boy, Noel, home on leave from the Marine Corps. Shout out to the people today.
Man,
Hello?
I haven't seen so many people from church in a long time.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that I don't know. Came to realize that.
yeah.
But yeah, welcome back. Hopefully we can speak to you and give you some advice or something.
Yeah, some wisdom from the 2-year Marine Corps. Let's go. Well, I wanted him to come on here because it's one of the conversations that me and you probably have a lot about this generation
Yeah.
and your generation. I worry enough about mine. I'm even worried about yours, just the shifting culture of the world. And
Right.
so, and you've, gosh, in the last 2 years, you've been all over the world, literally the world, which is super cool. And I probably speak for everybody on here that we're proud of you and thank you for your service to this great nation we all love. But just want to talk about, how about this? I'm going to have you open it up and just kind of see what are some things that concerns you. Tell him how old you are.
I'm 20 years old.
20 years old. He's a Paladura graduate.
Yep. Once a Don, always a Don.
Once a Don. Family. Hashtag family. Also, too, I want to point this out. You are going to see this about him. He's a very humble boy. He's not going to tell you anything. But he was Don. Was it Don of the Year?
Oh, it was Mr. Paladuro.
Mr. Paladuro. Yeah, he was that little guy in the fighting with the sword and all that stuff. But this is what stood out to us, or because we asked, because we weren't Dons, but he was. And so what the teachers pointed out to us is how Noel has that quiet leadership about him. When he walks into a room, he sees the weak one. I'm going to talk on you for a little bit. He sees the weak one, and he goes to the weak one to encourage the weak one. And I noticed that, let me turn off my phone here. I've always noticed that about him because he worked around the church here, worked in children's church. How long,
Man, since as long as I can remember. As soon as I...
Yeah, 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
Working with us in children's church, working around the church. He helped me summers shoeing horses before he left me go serve America. And so but this is one of the things that I've seen is that's one thing that you see, and that's why he was Paladura or Mr. Paladuro.
Yeah.
Is because teachers talked about him of how and this is the way I always want to raise my kids. I want them to be able to walk into a room and be able to hang out with the most successful, but also the broke of the broke. And Noel has done a great job of that, making people feel welcome and loving. And you're an amazing young man. I love you.
I try.
Well, I know you do, and you do a great job of that. And so what are some things, let's open it like this. What are some things that you see about this generation that is concerning to you?
Where to start? Technology nowadays is just that's taken over. You guys were in Vegas and a robot was running the show there, and I see it like NFL games. There's robots, and it's crazy. But technology definitely is one of my biggest concerns. Is it's not necessarily like what it is or like what it's coming to. It's more of how people use it, and especially my generation and the newer generation even, they're just so sucked into it.
So it's a distraction.
Right, yeah.
It's a distraction, and then on top of that, it leads to not being able to process things.
Well, not being able to process things, being lazy.
That's the biggie.
Yeah,
That is the biggie. Do you? Obviously, you're in a spot where you're in the Marine Corps,
right?
And he's in a position in the Marine Corps that I'm sure there's no room for that. But I'm sure across I mean, I remember you coming home even from boot camp is like, I don't know if these guys are gonna make it.
Yeah.
Which I was not concerned because you went in like super fit, and he's smart, like trying to figure things out. But um, were you concerned? I mean, I'm saying even just across there is that laziness, like
Oh, 100%. You could see it. I mean, it was it kind of a lot of what like how you work, your work ethic, what you do, how you perform is I think a lot of it is comes up or comes back to how you're raised.
yeah,
In all honesty, um, yeah, like some kids there. I mean, they didn't know how to stay clean or like it's so surprising to me. But I mean, if they're being raised of being nurtured and their mom doing everything for them, then they don't know any different, you know. So
So you're saying you weren't raised in a nasty house?
no, I definitely wasn't. I had to. I mean, there was cleaning days, and
There's been cleaning days since you've been home on leave.
yeah, I mean, I'd be sore as all get out from a football game and still have to clean. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how I was raised, and also I wasn't raised to be lazy. I mean, since I was 11, I'd go to work with you and do things like that, and so I always like to make my own money, anyways.
Yes. Yes. Me too. And that's the thing. I think this generation is missing out on that because there's kids. I mean, like that's where it's gone back to even to my generation. But you've seen even with me and mom, like uh, some people think you weren't raised in a home where a lot of them were, where like they get off work, they come home, sit on the couch and watch TV.
Right.
You've
No.
never seen that.
Yeah.
Like that's when, that's when we start working around the house. That's when we pick up leaves in the fall.
Yeah.
I run a sweatshop around. I'd always tell my neighbor, my neighbors around me, we always have a sweatshop during like fall season because we've always been in homes where we've got tons of leaves all around us. But I like to get those things done so you can take a day off on the weekend, but still on the weekends you have things to do.
Right.
And so it is a problem in America today and I think that's why more and more technology is coming out to do things that we just don't want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just it's so sad. I mean,
It is. It is, and I mean, I love the technology as far as YouTube and figure things out.
right.
How many times have me and you working on your car or my pickup or something like that? And so I think the thing, the kind of the vein that I really want to go down today is just talking about greatness because people don't want to be great.
Right.
Don't you agree?
Yeah. I complacency, I think, is a big part of that.
Of even looking sharp too, of like
Yeah, appearance. I think I always go by look good, feel good, be good. I mean, but complacency, I think, is a big deal. I mean, people want to just get by, or people just like this is enough to do this, or this is enough to do this. I've always wanted to go above and beyond and do greater than what they expect. I don't know if that's just my thought process.
Well, and that's the thing. And here's the deal: you have been successful, even in the Marine Corps. I mean, I know there's a lot of things that you can't share with us, but I can say things like from a dad's standpoint of when we went to boot camp. So I just want to point this out because he's not just saying words. This is something that you've actually done. But
Right.
I remember at boot camp, I remember your drill sergeant coming to us and like, this is a fine young man, of how you went to the top inside your platoon there. And then you go back for training at Pendleton, you go to the top. And then you went to Virginia, you go to the top. Every position that you've been in, that you're not just, and it's part of that. And these are some things because I know this about you. You're teachable. You're correctable. You look sharp. You care. Like,
Oh yeah.
you care. And is there days that you don't want to care?
No,
There's
I mean,
not.
No. Yeah, I can't think of a day that I don't want to care. I mean, as dumb as it may seem, I mean, in the Marine Corps we do. It's known to be like you do dumb stuff or whatever, but as dumb as it may seem, I still want to do great. I mean, but
What'd you say? Be good, look good?
feel good.
Come on.
Yeah, but going back to complacency, I mean, the line of work that I do, we always say complacency kills, is because if you get too comfortable, like our job is, we do security and stuff like that, so you get too comfortable and you just don't. Security is like a lot of paying attention and
Securing an area?
Yeah,
the word,
yeah.
The word.
And so like you don't pay attention or you get complacent, you get comfortable. The person right next to you can very well get killed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's why we say complacency kills. Or you can, and it could be yourself. And so,
Even going back to sports, complacency kills.
oh yeah,
When you get into the rocking chair of life, I noticed this. Like, I want to go to a spiritual level of this. In 1 John, he talks about 3 different levels of a person. The first level is a child or a baby, and then a baby to a child, and then a child to like or a toddler to a child, and then it talks about young men, and then the last one it talks about fathers. The one that you have to be the most concerned about is the father, because the father, he's reproduced, but if it's easy for him to get in what I call the rocking chair state, to where he's sitting in the rocking chair and he's bored because he's done a lot of things. But when you get to that place, that's the most scary, because you're complacent.
right, yeah,
And you feel like, and that's why it's so important that we always have purpose in front of us. It's just like me, like, even in, I mean, and you know this about me, but like I'm always reading. I'm always, because I want to be better.
right,
And I not only get my own perspective, but I love to see the perspective of other people and leadership and all those different things. And even in shoeing, I never want to, even though I've shot horses for 20 years, you would always hear me say this: every horse, I treat them like they're $100,000.
Yep.
There's some that are worth 5 cents if you ask me.
Right.
But I'm going to treat them all the same, and because if not, that's me being complacent.
yeah,
That's me just filling a gap, and I don't want to fill a gap.
yeah,
I want to. Hey, when Travis Bennett shows up, the best showed up
yep,
in anything.
exactly,
And so, I always think of, and you've heard me tell this before. And a couple years ago, we were at the lake and we watched that movie, The Great Outdoors, where two guys are sitting on the park bench, and in that park bench moment, one guy. It's John Candy, and the other one is I forget the name of him, but they're sitting on this park bench. One shows up in a Mercedes, one shows up in like a station wagon, and it is dirty.
right, yeah,
That's one thing we talk about. We'll talk about cars. We'll talk about keeping clean cars, because I know yours is probably spotless. Mine is not always spotless, but Mom's is always spotless. But one shows up in this nice Mercedes, the other one shows up in this station wagon. One has kids that that aren't dressed very good. Other one they're dressed to the nines, and they're sitting on the back porch. And he said, "Tell me," the successful one says, "Tell me what you see." He said, "I don't know. I see a boat, and some water, and some trees." And he looks at him, and he said, "Well, I'll tell you what I see." He said, "I see resources being turned into energy. I see these trees over here being turned into paper that we could be right on." I mean, my whole point is you can have two people sitting next to each other, and one can have vision, and the other one's just out to have fun.
exactly, yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you can't have fun and have vision.
Mm-hmm.
You can have listen. We have fun all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But we're also still focused
Yep.
of the task that is at hand. And here's the thing that I also see in that is one wanted to be great, and the other one wanted to be mediocre. And I think that's what we're talking about. Is like, so many people just want to be mediocre.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you're doing out there, whether you own a business or you
Work at McDonald's.
work at McDonald's, be the best burger flipper you can flip. I mean,
Yeah. I agree. I washed dishes. I did.
You did. Gosh, you would come home. You smell like a wet dog.
I mean, but they knew that whenever I got there that they were going to get done in
The
a matter of
best.
time. Yeah.
And how many? They would be stacks of them.
Oh, piled up.
Roses
Like
over there on Sauncey.
up to the ceiling, and I was like, all right, and then just get it done.
I remember one time we pulled up to the drive-thru. This is back when Roses was actually reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Now it's like going to a buffet in Vegas, expensive as it is. But we remember pulling in there, and you open that door and all that steam coming out in your body. It was a cold, cold day, but you were sopping
Oh yeah.
wet. You got into it.
Yep.
Would you put on like some music and just?
Oh yeah.
Would you dance back there
You
to
know,
it?
or get jiggy.
See, you had
know
fun
it.
and you had vision.
Exactly. Yeah. That was some good times.
Oh man! In whatever you do,
Yeah.
mowing the yard.
Yeah, I tried to keep those lines as straight as possible.
Yes, you did. Yeah, we're still working on Anson. Anson's getting better.
There we go.
But even when he was young, I'd be like, son, you got to keep the tire. But Noel's always been one of those that, you just show him one time and he wanted to do great. I even remember Christmases like you opening stuff and you like folding your clothes just perfect. Like you always said that part about you. But there's a few things that just came to my mind as I was thinking about this. In 2 Timothy, when Paul's writing to Timothy, he told him in 2 Timothy 2:15, he said, "Be diligent to present yourself approved to God, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." And in that first part, he's saying, be diligent to present yourself approved to God. And I believe that's in everything, whether it be in being a dad or being a Marine, being a pastor, being these are the boxes that I'm thinking of in this room right here. But whatever it is that you do, be diligent, present yourself approved by God.
Yeah.
In Colossians, it talks about, and whatever you do it as unto the Lord. It says it in 1 Corinthians as well. So in everything, I even down to the way you look,
Right.
I think those things are important because I know people that don't have very much, but whatever they have is nice. Like they iron their clothes. Do you know how to run an iron?
No, not at all.
Whatever. He's a liar. He can run that iron good. But that speaks volumes.
Right.
And that's the deal is you want favor in your life, which favor opens doors, but there's things in the practical that you can do. And these are things that I've always shared with my kids and Anson. It's fun now because Anson's opening up to that.
Yeah.
How he's looking people in the eyes. You seen this?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Where he's looking people in the eyes and he's I know this about Cody too, like I see favor on his life because looking people in the eyes, looking sharp, saying yes sir, no sir. What we do is we call it honor up.
Goes
down.
a long way.
Goes a long ways.
Oh yeah.
Whether they don't, you can tell they don't own $5 or they own $500,000. We're going to treat people the same because it's not about them. It's about the reflection that I am of the Lord. And that's what I want to be. Because I believe God, I don't care what you are, God's called you to be a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Right? God's called you to lead people. And I believe there's some natural born leaders out there, but there's some that are taught to be leaders. And I believe there's something in all of us that wants to be great. Don't you?
Yeah, I think deep down somewhere in there. But it's the urge to actually like get it done and pursue that. And so I think a lot of it comes from your personal, like, do you want to actually want to be great? Do you want to do things that you see? I've talked to tons of people and they're like, yeah, I want to have a lot of money, or I want to drive nice cars. I want to have nice things. But it's like, what are you doing to get that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't get it sometimes. But
well, they have no, they have no zeal, no oomph,
no drive,
and that was one of the things. I mean, and he'll tell you, not that me and mom are not for you, and this is with all of our kids, not that we don't have the means to do some things for you, even down to like buying cars and things like
Yep.
that. But this is how me and mom was raised, and so we want you guys. I mean, we were talking about credit and money coming over here of what we taught. Could we have done this for him? Yes, but I would rather mold you and you do those things,
Right. Yeah.
and then be that great person. Because I believe everybody, just like we're talking about here. I believe there's something in every single person. Not everybody wants to be divorced, have 3 kids, and live down by the river
Right. Yeah.
in a van. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's people that are sitting on the couch out there right now, like, I want to do better in my life, but it's going to come at a price.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Exactly.
It's going to come with some grind. In Timothy, also, he talks about in a great house, there's vessels. There's not only vessels of gold and silver, there's vessels also of wood and clay, some of honor and some of dishonor. So in the same house, you can have gold, you can have silver, which those are 2 great things, but one's worth more than the other. You can have wood and clay, totally 2 different things. One's moldable, one's stuck.
Right.
So you can be raised in the same environment and not, my whole point is you can be raised in those moments and not grab a hold of it and do it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, you got to do it. You can have great parents and not be great. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. 100% agree.
I bet you see it all the time.
I've seen it all the time.
All the time.
Oh yeah.
You can work for a great company and not be great.
Yeah.
You can graduate from a great school and not be great.
Yeah. I mean, you could use that in anything though.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
You can be in the Marine Corps and not be great.
Yeah, I've seen it. But yeah, I've seen it time and time. It's the personal deal, personal view of yourself. Like anytime I walk into a room or I walk into anything, I want to be seen like that guy has his life together. That guy is respectful. I mean, he has, everything together, you know.
And I think you said something, you have to love you first, because I think of Jesus, I think it's in Mark chapter 12, but he said, when he was asked, what's the greatest commandment? He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and strength. And then he said, the second is as important as the first one, basically saying, when you do the first one, the second one comes in. And I believe this, but he says, love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to love somebody else if you don't love yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're not confident, mom always gets on, you're just so confident. You can be 350 pounds and be confident in your Speedo.
Like, oh, yeah, I look great.
That's right. But, and I think confidence comes from just consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Wouldn't you agree? Like, of doing those same things. And there's times where you don't want to do it.
Right, yeah. There's times where I didn't want to, I don't know. It's not very many, but there's times where I didn't want to do certain things. I go run, go lift, go work out, but I knew that I had to, so I did it.
It's just like this, and this is what I see. Like, people are such sissies, and there's people who probably think I'm being judgmental, but maybe I am. But I'll just say this in the workforce. People, there's times where I haven't felt good.
Oh, yeah.
There was one time I remember going to a place, I shot 5 head of horses, and I'm like, dude, I feel terrible. Next day I tested positive for the flu. But, it can be just little stuff, and they're calling in, and just weenies.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. Yeah.
But my whole point is there's just times where there's times you don't want to do it. There's times where you don't want to face something. There's times where, but you got to if you're going to be somebody who's great.
Exactly.
And so I have a few things here, and I know you've heard these things before, but I think it would be fun coming from the viewpoint of you, especially at the place that you're at in life. Talk about things that are great and things that aren't great. And the first one is greatness is not inherited.
Yeah. I'd agree.
You can be born low and live high.
Yeah. I mean, just from whenever I was a kid,
Yep.
little bitty. I mean, I didn't live. I mean, it was,
Noel, you came to you were 11.
yeah, 10 or 11. Yeah, 11. I think I was 11.
You're well, no, you were 10 right after you had
Just
your
turned
11th
11.
birthday. That's right. Um, but just like that, you can be born low and live high.
Yeah, and a lot of it, I think a lot of my drive comes from that. Is
I agree.
I've seen both sides, and yeah, I don't want to live like that, paycheck to paycheck, barely getting food on the table, stuff like that, having 2, 3 sets of outfits for a year. It's just not how I want to live. It's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what I aspire to be. So I think that's where a lot of my drive comes from. But yeah, it's not.
But on the flip side, you can be born high and live low.
Yeah, seen that too. But also, like going back to what you were saying about your parents and stuff like that. I mean, my siblings, I mean, they're they haven't had like, or we literally grew up in the same house, and we're like two complete different people. And
Yep.
I mean, it's not all about where your parents are, who your parents are, what they teach you. I mean, a lot of it's on you.
So you can. I think that's a big one. Is people need to know that out there. There's so many successful people. I mean, I've read books on tons of them, and I would give it some examples. But born low and live high. But there's a bunch of them. I mean, and this is what's concerning to me of like rural families. And if I mean, we're blessed in our home, but I mean, but we've worked hard. Is they can be born high and live low. I mean, I look at mom, and she could definitely from the home, but thankful to Gigi and Pawpaw the way that they raised her, even in a home where they could have paid for a car, paid for the gas, paid for all that different stuff. I mean, we always made you pay for insurance.
I was telling someone the other day. I don't remember who it was, but telling someone the other day. So glad my parents made me pay for that stuff. I was like, it sucked in high school because I mean, I barely got to work because I was at sports and school, and I was always busy. But
Yeah,
I was like, I'm so glad they made me do that, because now I like realize what it is to
be responsible.
have your own money, how to manage your money, not buy dumb things.
Mm-hmm.
One of my buddies in the Marine Corps, he always he always likes to go out and spend money. I'm like, bro.
This boy is as tight as his dad. I'd have a whole lot more if it wasn't for mom. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
But Addison, all the time, she's like, "Man, I don't want to go to work." I'm like, "You want that car?"
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were blessed to have cars, but we always made, like Addison, we make her pay. Is it insurance?
Yeah, mine was insurance.
Yeah, that's hers too. Is pay for insurance, which is what, $250 a pop, $250 a month,
something like that.
and so, but it's just that responsibility and that accountability, and that's what I'm getting back to. Is like mom was raised, and Gigi and Papa have been very successful and been great, but I believe that's why now, I mean, I just look at Brandy and Aunt Brooke, and mom and Aunt Brooke, and I see them as they're both very successful, and I think that's why.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of that. But here's the whole thing: is greatness is not inherited.
Yeah.
It's not inherited. Here's another one: greatness is not money.
No. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've met tons of great people that have zero to little.
That's right. It doesn't, because wealth and money doesn't make you great.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's just like money. Money can't buy happiness.
It can't.
No. I'm more happy whenever I'm just home with the family. And more than that, I mean, more than spending money on doing things. I mean, home and solving puzzles.
Me and Noel, we've been on this. What is it? 1,000-piece
Yeah,
puzzle.
1,000 piece.
I know there's some that are bigger and out there,
Oh, yeah.
but Mom is like, but me and you are both geared the same way. It's like, I'm not gonna give up till it's completed. And it may be dumb, and you people think we're crazy out there, but I think that's part of greatness.
Yeah.
To me, that's what drives me. Is like, even this morning, I got up, I read the Word, I prayed, and I've been reading a book. But I got back to, I'm walking by that puzzle, and I'm still like figuring out
Pieces.
colors and pieces and things like that, because I don't like things undone.
Right.
I like things put together. And so, going back to that, I think greatness is not income. What it is having purpose.
Right.
And so you can have a job right now that it may not be making enough money, but if you're fulfilling the purpose and you're doing the God design, what God's called you to do, but I believe even with that, it'll open up doors of income, especially in the society we live today, because nobody wants to make any.
Oh, yeah. I agree. It's just like, Marine Corps, military, I don't know if you guys know this, but we don't get paid. We get benefits and stuff, but we don't.
Beans and cornbread.
Yeah, we don't get paid much, but I think a lot, like you're saying, greatness, because I've been to courses with other agencies, and you stick out,
Mm-hmm.
I try to make myself stick out, especially around like other agencies and stuff, and then they come talk to you, and you get you connected,
Mm-hmm.
and so, yeah.
That's awesome. And we're going to talk about, down the road here in a second, I want to talk about, there's some things that you do that helps you stick out. Here's the next one. Greatness is not talent. You can have all the talent in the world and not be great.
100%.
I believe that with all
Football.
my heart. Yeah.
We seen it.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you did, especially your senior year.
Oh, my goodness.
Y'all had all the talent in the world and not be great. And that's the thing is you've, gosh, and here's the deal. Whatever it is that you're doing, give it your best and get better.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I agree.
And get better. That's the whole thing.
I think sports is a good example. I always strive to get better, every day.
Mm-hmm. You're working out all the time still.
Yeah, I try to stay in shape.
You want to get stronger.
Yeah, I really do, which I have. I used to, in high school I was super skinny, but I benched the plate, and now I'm up to, I can rep 225 or 6'7".
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you can.
I'm not great at that anymore. There was a time, it was last Christmas, me and him started wrestling, and I gave up real quick. My shoulders aren't what they used to be. Here's another one. Greatness is not popularity.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes if you're going to be great, you can't be popular at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to make decisions. Here's the thing. There's people out there that have millions of Instagram followers, all these people that follow them on Facebook and all that different stuff, and they're not great people.
Yeah.
They may have all of that because their daddy was great,
mm-hmm.
but you can have all those things and not be great. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And so I wrote this down. Never sacrifice greatness for popularity.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree. I'd say I was pretty popular in high school, but I didn't ever let that
Mr.
control
Paladuro,
me.
maybe a little bit.
I didn't let that control me, though. If I knew something was wrong, I was going to say it, and I was going to point it out,
And not the most popular kids are going to be, because I would see, you made the people in the wheelchair feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You made the people, special ed.
Oh, yeah.
You loved on them.
I loved them. Yeah.
In the lunchroom and things like that, but also, too, the most popular kid in the top of the basketball,
mm-hmm.
you were friends with them as well.
Yeah.
But I agree, greatness, it's not just popularity.
Yeah, no.
And in fact, it's not even one of the things. No. Also, greatness is not cheap. I always say this, it's not cheap because it's going to cost you something.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you energy.
Effort.
It's going to cost you effort, discipline.
Mm-hmm. So many things.
Nothing. It will cost. Sometimes it'll cost you friends.
Oh, yeah.
You'll lose people over because I'm not going to be a bonehead.
Yep.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fall down to that level. I'm going to stay great. And there's people that they may call it judgmental, blah, blah, blah. But
What is that? Oh, man. What's that saying? You always said it. And I've always
rise and fall.
To the level of your
friends.
Yep.
I've
always, I mean,
I would always say this, and he knows this. I would always say, if you picture your friends in an orange jumpsuit, you might as well get fitted for one now.
I mean, and that's how it is. I mean,
100%.
I've seen great football. In high school, great athletes. I mean, start hanging out with the wrong crowd and just bad. Off they went, and so
you can't be a follower and be great.
Yeah,
that's right. You've got to lead the way. Another thing is this: greatness is not immediate. It doesn't happen overnight.
Oh no, 100%. Heck no. I don't even think I've achieved nowhere near greatness, and I've been working at it for years now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 100% not.
Like, tell us a routine. Tell us a routine. I mean, I know you can't go into specifics about Marine Corps and things like that, but I know you work out. I know.
Yeah.
I know you have your times where you're great at Fortnite.
Oh, I'm amazing. But
oh man,
he's saying like a daily routine, or
yeah, like what are some things that you've done to discipline yourself on a daily? Like, this is what I'm going to do before, because you do have Fortnite moments, and everybody needs to have those.
Yeah. So first, a lot of times I like to work the morning shift, in which my schedule changes all the time. It's 24-hour security and morning shift, mid shift, night shift. But a lot of times I like to stay. If I'm morning shift, this is crazy that you bring this up, because no matter what shift I'm on, I have specific times that I do certain things. So if I'm on morning shift, then I'll go to work because it's bright and early in the morning. Get off fairly early. And then whether or not I have meal prep, because I meal prep now. If I have that, then that'll base off.
That's discipline.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you learn that from Uncle Wes?
Chicken and rice.
Yes, you did.
But so, yeah. If I have meal prep, then I won't have to worry about that. But if I don't, then I'll have to, right after work, I'll make it, meal prep for the week. And then I always go to the gym at 5. So I do gym stuff. Go to gym for
5 in the morning?
No.
5 in the afternoon.
5 in the afternoon.
When you get off work?
Shift. Yeah. After I'm off work, meal prep, go to the gym, come back.
Meal prep saves money too, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Find some chicken that's pretty cheap. But and rice ain't expensive.
He's eating chicken now because in his home we ate beef. Well, we ate some chicken.
We ate a lot of chicken.
Yeah, we did eat chicken, but we ate a lot of beef too.
Yeah. Hey, I can never pass up a steak though. So yeah, I get back and shower and stuff like that, settle down for bed. But that's just pretty much my day to day. But even if it's mid shift, which is it's around noon, afternoon a little bit from there to night. And so I'll wake up early still, go to the gym, do all the stuff before work, go to work, and then by the time I get off work, it's time for bed.
Yep.
So.
And I just want to point this out because we're living in a pandemic right now of guys, even my age, that are addicted to video games.
Oh, yeah.
And you play them.
Yeah, I do.
I don't play them. I'm terrible. I don't know anything about it. But here's the deal. I even knew about this when you were in high school, or maybe I helped you out with this. But, man, I know you wanted to go play, and I know you knew your buddies were on there, but you always took care of business first.
Right.
And I believe that's what greatness is. And there's
Yeah.
people out there that need to know that. It's like they get so worked up on a fantasy world. And I'm not saying you can't have a fantasy world.
Right.
I mean, you have fun on there.
There's a time and place for it, though. I always
Yeah.
say that.
He'd shut his door. He had this chair that he stole from me.
Yeah.
Oh, he stole from me. I remember Mom griping about it because we had it in our bedroom,
Yeah.
and I'd like to read and pray in it, and then he took it to Fortnite, but I got it back, and I cast all the devils out of it when he got it back. But he'd be up in his room just screaming at screaming at all your buddies. But my whole point is you took care of business for any of that, and whatever it is. I mean, me and Mom love to golf, but and there's things that I enjoy. I hope you guys don't think that we have no room for fun, because we do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you've always heard me say this: we work hard and we play harder.
Oh, yeah.
But and that's the thing, is you've got to work hard in order to play.
Oh, 100%.
Like when we went to the lake this summer, I mean, people just think, oh, they go and have fun. There's a lot of hard work that even goes into being at the lake, doesn't
Oh,
it?
yeah.
And you got a boat and all this different stuff. And I'm always thankful when Noel's there. And other guys are, too, that can't back their boat in the water. Noel's been backing trailers since he was 12 years old. And it's funny, there's grown men in their 50s. He has to go show them up in front of their girlfriends to back their boat into the water. But here's one more thing that greatness isn't. I want to talk about some things that are great. Greatness in today's economy is not common.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not common, and it distinguishes you from the crowd when you're great, and you cannot have the approval of everyone around you and be great.
It's big.
Right?
That's big. Yeah. I feel like approval is huge in today's society. My generation, for sure, they care about what other people think about them. I mean, by my hair looks good. If
And it's important to look great.
right,
It's important to have those things.
good appearance, but at the same time, you can't get sucked into what people think about you, because it'll take you to other places and
Depression
and stuff like that.
all that different stuff.
Yeah, no good. So, yeah, that's big.
And you know this about your old man, I do not care.
No, just like you were saying earlier, Mom said you can be 300 pounds and still be confident. Yeah,
And it's not that I hope I never get to 300 pounds.
That's big.
She just tells me she just tells me that when I'm sucking down a Snickers bar. That's probably my biggest problem, is eating. But I love good food. You know that about me. So we talked about things that greatness isn't. I want to talk about some things that greatness is. The first thing that greatness is, if you're going to be great, you have to learn how to be teachable.
Oh yeah, 100%. You can't, if you don't know how to be great, how are you going to do that?
That's right.
Or if you don't know how to do the things that are going to take you to be great, there's no way you're going to get there.
That's right.
You know.
I mean, I just think about. I'm so thankful for the bosses that I had, and this is what's hard in where we are today. I'm sure you see it in the Marine Corps, or in just other jobs that you've had. But we live in a crisis today. You're yelling at me, and I'm like, I'm not even raising my voice.
Yeah.
I'm just teaching you something, and the Bible says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. And I think about, I'm so thankful for the people that I had that you know, that taught me stuff and hands-on and those types of things. But people today don't want to be taught.
Yeah, I'd agree. And a lot of it is laziness.
Mm-hmm.
And
Apathetic.
then I feel like being wrong is, or like being messing up or stuff like that. I think that has like a lot to do with it. A lot of people are scared to mess up, be wrong. I mean, I've learned a lot from my mistakes. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and so
And because of them not wanting to feel like that, they don't do anything.
right.
And so they don't take an effort to make themselves better
Mm-hmm.
because they just sit on the couch and be lazy and like, well, let somebody else do it.
Right.
But the millionaire out there, or the successful person, that's, you know, building cities and filling contracts is the guy that has learned how to be teachable in the moments that he's messed up the most.
Oh yeah. I just remember doing pistol call. A lot of people, and they always say this all the time. They always ask who's shot a pistol before or whatever, and obviously I have, and and so they're always saying that the ones that have shot weapons before are the most difficult to teach because bad habits,
Mm-hmm.
and and which is I could see why, but
They become know-it-alls.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so being teachable is big, big, big because we shot guns as long as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
And so I shot plenty of pistols. And I knew I wasn't I was okay. I've never actually pinpoint shot for accuracy and stuff like that. It was just for fun. But
You knew how to aim. You knew all
Right.
that stuff, but you
the basics.
down to logistics of probably even holding your gun at a certain way.
So yeah, so they're always saying that people that have shot before are always the hardest, but are the most difficult to teach. But I remember, I've shot before, and they were teaching me how to trigger squeeze, your grip, aligning your sights, stuff like that. That's all big in shooting, and so yeah, I was teachable, coachable, and I ended up with a high score. I think I had the highest score on the range.
And you probably had guys in there. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've shot pistols all my life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My great granddad, Samuel Colt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, being teachable, being coachable is huge.
And people need to know this out there is like a big turnoff to a boss, any kind of leader, any influential people in your life. When you have out of your repertoire of words, I know. Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Oh.
We know that you suck.
Right. Yeah. Responsibility. Whenever I was at the place before, I held a higher billet or whatever. I was a lance corporal, but it was doing a corporal's job basically. And I was looking over. I think it was 24, 25 other guys.
Yeah, you were a leader.
And yeah, I get that a lot. Oh, I know. I'm like, you don't. You just got here.
I wouldn't be having to tell you if you know.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's such a turnoff.
Yeah.
And people need to know that.
yeah.
And here's the deal, in whatever you do, this is a great example. You know how to shoot guns.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to load guns, clean guns, all of those things before you went. But if you're going to be a successful person and great at something, if you go to work for an organization like the United States Marine Corps, what you know can help you or it can hurt you.
Yeah.
Because now you work for them.
Yep.
And if you're going to be successful in the Marine Corps, you need to do it the Marine Corps way.
Oh, yeah.
Not the Travis Bennett way.
No.
Right?
No.
Not to say that this way's right or wrong. It has nothing to do with that. It's like, this is the way I want you to do it now.
Yep.
And that's what I'm getting at is people of you work for them. I learn of people that are losing their jobs and then they starts telling me the situation. It's like, you work for them.
Mm-hmm.
Do it the way they want you to do it.
Exactly, yeah.
Because they're successful for a reason. Well, I know this other way to do it. And I'm not saying that way is wrong or indifferent.
Right.
I'm just saying, and there may be an opportunity of wisdom down the road where you can meet with your boss and say, hey, I've done this before, but don't go in like a douchebag and say,
Well, that's not right.
the way you're doing it is terrible.
Yeah,
Even though you've made money for 20 years doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm just telling you, people don't like know-it-alls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I'll
Yeah,
be the
no.
first one to tell you.
I don't either, yeah. Especially once you've been put in that leader position, which I feel like I've always been put in leader positions and stuff like that, but once you're there, you don't like it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to show somebody, and it's not even like, yeah, it may help you a little bit, but it's for their own good. It's not mostly just for you or to make you
Well, that's what
better.
a great person does. He
Right.
makes somebody else great.
Yeah, exactly. You want them to be better than you. That's how I always looked at it. Whenever I got new guys, I'd always teach them everything I knew, which was wasn't really like how it was supposed to go. But I felt like the more they knew, the better they're going to be at their job. That's not how a lot of people taught, and that a lot of people disagreed with how I taught. But I truly believed that the more they know, the better they're going to look at their job, the better they're going to be able to do their job. And so I always taught them literally everything I knew.
I see that in the church of like, and I think this is just an instinct, like this is my job. But I think if you're going to transition to a person that's great, anything that I do, I want somebody else to know.
Right.
I mean, I've never been at a place, but I know there's people out there, but I'm just telling you, you'll go up a level when you learn how to pour it into somebody else.
Yeah, 100%.
Just whether it be in the sound booth or running a camera or instruments, whatever it is.
I've done it all.
You have.
I ran cameras. I was in the sound booth. I've done it all. Yeah.
And always be teaching somebody else.
Yeah.
Of how to do those things and how to do it great. Which leads me to the next one is not only is greatness being teachable, greatness is also learning how to take correction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, like I said, we live in a world today where you're yelling at me, and it's no, I'm not yelling at you. I'm trying to teach you, but they just can't take that correction. And you got to take correction with a good attitude, because here's the deal: we're wrong.
Yeah.
Even the place that I'm at, I mean, I get it wrong, and I'm thankful for people that keep me accountable.
Exactly.
And say, dude, you messed up.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's huge. Being able to take that in, just because, I mean, just like I was saying, I feel like I've learned so much from my mistakes, and you live and you learn, you know. But having accountability, someone holds you accountable, that's huge. But as long as you receive it and you use it, then it could benefit you. But you have to be able to receive that without taking it the wrong way.
Getting butthurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Looking out the window.
Hey.
He always give me a hard time. He got mad one time when he was looking out the window. And that was one thing, like, being raised in our home. And I teach, I haven't one with all my kids, but that's one of the things, is keeping a good attitude when you get corrected.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it's just a part of life.
Yeah, it is.
And you know this, being in our home, and this is the way I was raised, so this is the way I parent, is like, I promise you, after the correction, I let it go.
It's over.
It's over. I'm not going to be bringing it up 5 years down the road. I'm not going to bring it up 5 minutes down the road, even though I did about the window.
Now it's just a joke now.
But even at the dinner table, I'd bring correction. We'd sit at the dinner table. Let's act like nothing's wrong, because you need to know that it's just a part of life. You're going to be corrected, and thank God for that. And I don't understand why people don't want to be corrected, because we live in a world, if somebody's phone's broke, they're going to be running to get it fixed.
Oh.
And that's why you need to look at it. You're getting fixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If your car's broken, you be calling a mechanic right now, or you're going to get on YouTube on how to fix it.
Yeah.
And if your Facebook's been hacked,
Calling Facebook.
exactly. We're gonna reset passwords. You're gonna work on those things to get better, because we want those things. Those things are important, and that's what we're talking about. These are important things. And we can't be at a place where you're screaming at me, or you're so mean to me. Why do you constantly treat me this way?
Mm-hmm.
That's being crybaby. Don't be a crybaby. Just come on. What we're doing is putting things together, and you can't skip steps when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the steps that's very important in your life, is being corrected. And if you're going to
100%.
be successful in a job, and that's what I'm trying to teach my kids, but that's what I've also tried to do, in pastoring. I mean, the Holy Spirit corrects us. God corrects us.
Yeah.
And you can't skip steps. And that's one of the steps of life,
Mm-hmm.
is being corrected.
Yep.
I always, people ask me all the time, what's your favorite scripture? In fact, a couple of days ago, me and Mom was doing some Christmas errands. Some people text us, what's your favorite? And Mom's out of Hebrews, Hebrews 10:23, but mine is Ephesians 3:16, that he would grant unto you by your rich treasure and glory, strengthen you, reinforce you with might to your inner man, the Holy Spirit himself to your innermost being and personality. And then it goes into verse 17, that Christ will make his home in your hearts. As you trust in him, your roots will grow down into God's love and keep you strong, and may you have the power to understand all God's people should, how wide, how long, how high, how deep his love is. And when you talk about the love of God, how wide is the giving side, how long is the unending side, how deep is the correcting side. But before you go up, you got to go down.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it's just like in anything, whether working out, but it's an act of humility, right, of being corrected.
Mm-hmm.
And pride comes, then a fall comes. And the opposite of humility is pride. And so when you're humble and you get corrected, take it, learn from it. Because here's the deal. Prison is full of people that don't know how to be corrected.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prison's full of them. We have people that are working on, government assistance, all these different things, and I'm not against that. I know there's going to be people on here that listen to those things. But I'm telling you, these are people, I can say this with confidence. People may get mad at me. They're people that don't know how to be corrected.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to be a people. If you're going to be great, learn how to be corrected.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care where you at the top of the food chain, the bottom of the food chain, you got to learn how to be corrected.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to talk about, greatness needs to be used as a tool and not as a weapon. You can never let it go to your head.
Yeah. That can tear some people. It can, I feel like that leads you in the wrong direction. Once you get that in your head that you're the best out there,
better than anybody else.
Yeah, it's not good. It'll bring you down real quick. I've seen it.
Humility.
Yeah.
So, talking about that, that's the thing. You got to be humble.
Right, yeah.
I mean, in all of this, you can use humility in this. But this is a question that I ask. If you were all of a sudden great, like overnight, you were great, would the people around you follow you? Would people follow you? Would people see that greatness on the inside of you? Because I see this of great people in the Word of God. And a great example to me as someone who used it as a tool and not a weapon. David, he obviously goes to the top. You know the story where he runs from Saul most of his life. Or a big portion of Scripture in 1 Samuel. But I love it in 2 Samuel. After Saul is dead, he mourns his death. Even though he had every reason to hate him.
Right.
But what I love is he says, is there anyone in the household of Saul that I can bless today? That's a great person.
Oh.
That he was successful overnight, became the king, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was the anointed one for sure, made a lot of mistakes. I also think of Joseph, and you know the story of him, but he was so great because he didn't let his position stop him from walking in forgiveness with his brothers. He was at the top. They sold him to slavery years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But not overnight. I mean, it was obviously a process.
Right.
But he became great when he didn't look like he was going to, but because of decisions that he made. He passed the pride test. He passed the pit test, the palace test. There's a book that we're reading right now on by Robert Morse about the life of Joseph, and he talks about all these different tests. But my whole point is now he's at the highest place. His name means Savior of the world. Pharaoh has put him in charge. His brothers show up. He could go through all these motions, which he was at an extent of what they did to him. But he was so great he did not let that authority that he had stop him from walking in forgiveness with his brothers.
Mm-hmm.
That's using greatness as a tool and not a weapon.
Yeah,
I love that.
I agree.
Here's the next one. Got a couple more that I want to share with you, or that we can talk about is greatness releases greatness. And we've talked a little bit about this already, but you always need to be pouring into somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, I've always wanted someone to be, or like as everybody that I've mentored, talked to, I don't know, taught anything to. I've always taught them like I want them to be better than me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so yeah, it comes from other people. Other things, other people, other greatness, other people that are striving for that to help you. Because I'm not gonna I don't know how to do everything on my own, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
so
need help.
Yeah, exactly. I always ask for it. I always text you, mom, whatever, whenever I need those things, and so that's just how it works, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's something about that when you pour into someone else. I believe it's whatever man sows, that shall he also reap.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's a biblical principle. I believe there's a principle, just a natural principle that takes place. When you pour into somebody else, you're making room for more.
Yeah.
In you. Hey, I would rather have 10 people that know my job than only me.
Right.
Because then if you're gone, it sucks for your organization and all these other different things.
Yeah, they have to refigure it out.
Yeah, so that's what we're getting at from the very beginning. You can't have pride and be great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the only one who knows how to do this.
Yeah, no. And I think our little I guess section or platoon, our little platoon that we have, I think a lot of the reason our first sergeant always says that we're like we're always on top of our stuff and we always have everything going is because we do that. We what someone else might know, we teach someone that might not know, and that's just how we've ran our stuff, and it's honestly really good.
Absolutely.
Like everybody knows like the job really well. Everybody knows everything that someone else might know, you know.
Absolutely.
And so
there's a story in 2 Kings chapter 4 where Elisha helps this poor widow, and what happens is she comes to Elisha, and she tells him, says, my husband that served you, he's died, and all I have, is my son. And he says, so Elisha says, what can I do to help you? And then he asks her, he says, what do you have in the house? And she says, all I have is a flask of oil. And Elisha says, what I want you to do? I want you to start borrowing some empty jars so that you can fill these up, and fill these flasks. We'll fill them up. Mm-hmm. And she's probably thinking, what in the world for? But I'm going to do what you asked me to do. So she goes and borrows empty vessels, is what the King James says, empty vessels. And that's what we need to be like. And what I love about that, he says, in order for you to be great, in order for you to make it after your husband's gone, there is something that you do have. What do you have? She says, I have oil. Well, bring me empty vessels. And so let's take what you have and let's pour it. And of course, there's a miracle that happens in all of it. She starts filling all of these up. But the miracle is not just the fact that she uses the last thing that she has and gives it. I always tell this story about, because in order to be great, there's going to be sacrifice. There's a pig and a chicken mm-hmm. that walk up to the store, and the pig, it says bacon and eggs needed, and the chicken's like, hey, they have what we need. I'll be willing to give some eggs. Will you be willing to give some bacon? And the pig looks at the chicken and goes, You're going to give a contribution. I'm going to give my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what's going to take. This is going to have to be a lifestyle. It's going to have to give all of it, right?
Yeah.
In order to be successful. So going back to that story of the woman in 2 Kings chapter 4, the widow, she asked for empty vessels. And so the miracle is not on her side of bringing the vessels. It's also on the miracle of Elisha, of pouring into those. And that's if we're going to be great, we've got to pour into other people. And then they pour into somebody else. And that's what's wrong with society, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's lazy. Going back to the very beginning of our topic, they're lazy. We're not pouring into people, and that person's not pouring into that person. That person's not pouring into that person.
Yep.
And the
Domino
cycle is being cut off.
Yep.
We've got to release greatness into other people.
Yeah.
Here's the last one I want to talk about. Greatness maintains honor. What does honor mean to you now?
Oh man, that's one of our
I know it is.
deals. Honor. I've gotten asked this a lot. To me,
Honor, like by corporals and majors and stuff. You've been asked this, or
yeah. Well, a lot of time, or I've asked boot camp and just like different things. I am a corporal now, but honor.
you're a lance corporal.
No, I was.
Now you're a corporal.
But honor. I'd say, man,
Well, what do they teach you? What's the?
there's not really a set definition. It's
And I think that's what honor is.
Yeah.
There's not a set definition.
It's not. It's kind of what you think and what you believe. But I would say living up to, or like, I don't know how to put it.
Obedience and
Yeah.
honor can go along the same vein, but obedience, you have to be asked. Honor, you do something before they ask you.
Right. Or doing the right. I'd say doing the right thing when no one else is looking. No one else is there to. Even if it's like I've seen people that only do the right thing. Yeah, when someone else is watching, so that way they can be rewarded or praised or whatever you want to call it.
But being great is doing it when they're not even looking.
Yeah, at all times.
That's right. I think that's a big one. So it maintains honor. And there's people that throughout the Word of God, but also just in life, that we always have to honor. We have to honor your parents. Honor your father and mother. Be well with you and you live long on the earth. That's Ephesians 6 and verse 1. I think that's important. I won't want to put you on the spot there. But another one is you have to honor those in authority.
Yeah.
And you're in a big position of that right now.
Yeah, big time.
I'm even in the position, and not being a Marine, that I have to, there's things about this world and leadership in this world today I do not like, and you know that.
Oh, yeah.
But I still have to honor the position that they hold.
I mean, I think it has a lot. I can relate to that a lot. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I mean, I have to do my job and do the thing that I have to do. But yeah, honor those.
Let's go back
above
to
you.
even like bosses and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a line of all kinds of different people, not just church people. There's other people that are listening to this. And if you're going to be successful and you're going to be great, you're going to have to honor people in authority over you.
Right.
I mean, you may think you know more than them. They may have not have got. You may have been in that job longer than them, and they got advanced, and now it's an awkward position, whether it be family or it's a best friend. Y'all used to be close down here in your bubble together, and now they've advanced. I'm sure you see this in the Marine Corps.
All the time.
It's hard, but when you honor people in authority over you, there's a reason. I'm sure in the position that you guys were together, and now you're over them.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was, which is pretty awkward sometimes. Like I was there before this guy, but he's 32 years old. Joined the Marine Corps late and stuff, and I mean, I was over him, but he did honor authority. He would listen to you, because I mean, I was above him, and I knew the job really well, and I knew it.
Only 12 years younger.
Yeah, yeah, and but he honored that, and I thought that was pretty cool because it felt weird for me. I was only 19, I think, at the time. Yeah, I was only 19. I was telling a 32-year-old what to do, and so it was big time for me. But yeah,
But the reason that you're at the place that you're at is because you honored those that were above you.
Oh yeah,
Always.
soaked in all the knowledge and everything that they had to offer.
And that's what gives you favor.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, people need to know that. Being great gives you favor is when you come in and, I mean, you know this, you do this. I've done these same things as well of when, you take an interest and you're opening doors is what's happening.
Right.
Because when you honor them, I always say this, honor unlocks honor. And when you honor somebody, even with just a compliment or doing something for them, opening a door, what you're doing is you are opening a release valve for them to pour into your life.
Yep.
And people are like, why did they do that for you and not for me? Well, because I honored and respected them.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Right?
And I've always been raised that way.
Mm-hmm.
It was big time.
Look people in the eyes. Let's shake hands.
Shake hands.
And let's not be limp-wristed weenie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice firm.
Yeah, absolutely. Act like a man. Wipe
But
with your hand.
once you're there, you got to be a sponge.
Absolutely. Soak it up.
Soak it up.
And that ain't time for you to say, oh, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I already know how to do this.
Why am I even asking you?
Yeah. No.
Oh, Lord. I think it's important that people honor church leaders. The Bible actually says this, that you give them double honor. And I'm not saying that because I'm in a position of that, but pray for them, honor them. The next one, I think it's very important. We got to honor God in everything, right? In Psalm 22 and verse 23, it says, you who fear the Lord, praise him. All you descendants of Jacob, honor him. Revere him, all you descendants of Israel. We've got to honor the Lord. And I know this, even at the place that you are, in the position that you're at, the number one honor is to the Lord. Mm-hmm. And if there ever comes anything that goes against the Word of God, we're not going to do it. We're right. Mm-hmm. We're going to be those people that say, sorry, I'm not going to do that, because number one, God's called me to honor him.
Right.
And I've had all this favor on my life because I've honored him first.
Yeah.
And so, that's what we do. I mean, even in our home, it's easy to go through the motions, but Noel's heard this. We have what we have because of the Lord. And even when we eat down at the dinner table and pray for the food, God, we have this because of you. Mm-hmm. We've worked hard, but you've given us the ability to work hard.
Right.
And through sickness and health and all those different things, and we're thankful for that. And so I just want to leave the people with, the choice is up to you whether you want to be great. And it doesn't matter if you're 65 years old and you're listening to this and you hadn't been great up to this point. There's some decisions. There's some things that you can start doing. You know what? I'm going to be teachable. I'm going to be correctable. I'm going to release what I already know into somebody else. I'm not going to I'm not just going to take things for granted and advantage anymore. And what, feel good?
What's that?
What'd you say? Feel good, look good?
Yeah, look good, feel good, be good.
That's right. So we'll leave you that. Feel good, be good,
look good.
Look good. All right? Thank y'all for listening today.
Yeah, thank you.
And be great.